Hello, internets. Jesse McDougall here with the Martial Arts of Money book review today. Coming on some exciting stuff for me personally. I'm biased. Today we've got Bushido, The Way of the Samurai by Tsunetomo Yamamoto, also known as Musashi. So this book was written in 1716, and this is basically the cornerstone of all that's considered Bushido. If you don't know what Bushido is, you've probably seen it around. You've seen the symbol, you've seen the word Bushido. Have you ever actually researched it? It's pretty interesting stuff from Japanese culture, Japanese history, and it's serious stuff. It falls under the umbrella of Zen philosophy. A lot of it is I'm not even going to try to say I'm an expert in this stuff, but I do implement a lot of this stuff in my philosophy of life. I've been doing this kind of subconsciously. It's kind of like one connection: being well-rounded, a righteous person, being brave, not a coward, not hostile, not docile. It's very interesting stuff. Let's see here. I'll read a couple things out of here. Let's see. Actually, I'll just so a lot of them are just like kind of short parables, conversations that between who's the author here? Tashiro Suramoto. He interviewed Musashi and some other samurais for this book. So this is the cornerstone of Bushido. This is not the Book of the Five Rings, which Musashi wrote in 1645 up in caves. That's an epic book. I'll cover that another section. But I'll just read you the, this is 11 books here. I'll just read you some of like what the books are, the titles, and I'll just read you a couple chapters, titles. How to Stop Yawning, Foresight in Relationships. Book 2, Persuasion Tactics. Yes Man, How to Treat Your Superiors. This is like a little learning. Book 3. A Samurai and His Adulterous Wife. Whoa! Collapsing House, Story of the Thwarted Ghosts. 4 Kinds of Samurai. Humility of the Lord. Compassion and Courage. So you think samurai guys with swords killing people, like, they're not going to talk about compassion and courage, but that's what's interesting about the Bushido. To Kill the Loyal Samurai Cook. The Essence of Service. Book 8. How to Restore the Clan After It Collapses. Cut Down the Gods If They Stand in Your Way. That sounds like an interesting chapter. Let's take a look at that. 85. And you got to remember, this is like the cornerstone of a huge philosophy of Japanese culture. It's not the only philosophy, but it's interesting. And like all these parables, I don't know if they're parables or what they're called, but they're like a little short blurb. So it's like, this isn't a book that you spit off and read. Like I'm reading Musashi right now and I'm just burning through the pages. I'm almost done. But it's a fictional adventure novel. This is like the lore. You got to read quite slow, think about one passage, and go from there. So cut down the gods if they stand in your way. Pretty serious statement. Some guy scolded his son. Here's what happened. The son sent a message to his father. The message said, I would like to pay a visit to some guy in Kyoto, or Atago Shrine in Kyoto. Hearing this person asked the messenger for what purpose. The messenger replied, Atago Gongen being the god of bow and arrow, which is war, he has set his mind upon prayer to Gongen for success in warfare. Shingata angrily replied, quite unnecessary. Why should Neibishima vanguard rely on Antago Gongen? Be resolved to slice his body in 2 pieces and walk between them if Gongen confronts us on the side of the enemy. So first thing is, what the hell did I just talk about? Like, what the crap does that just mean? Basically, so you got to interpret this stuff. So you kind of read a section and sit back and think. You don't just burn through this pages. This book is it's like 90 pages long. So when I read this stuff, I couldn't appreciate it because I didn't do a lot of history work into Japan. I'm just finishing up the Musashi book. It's about 1,000 pages. Now I know a little bit more about Musashi's story, so I can appreciate reading this Bushido book a little bit more. But what this paragraph said basically is this one person wanted to go basically pray and pay respects to the shrine for the god of war. And I guess his father is saying, you don't need to do that. Just basically go to war. And if this god gets in your way, cut him down. So it's an example of showing courage. Two kinds of samurai. I'll read this one too. My father used to say only this to his servants, samurais. Gamble and tell lies, unless you can tell 7 lies as you walk to Cho, which 120 yards. You cannot show your manliness. Okay. He said this because he thought good-mannered samurais usually failed to achieve great work. He also said this because formerly, in a time of war, valor and vigor alone were treasured. He connived with his misbehaving samurais and left them unpunished, saying, "You have done well." Another person also overlooked retainers who committed theft and adultery. Gradually, he made samurais out of them. He said, only this kind of samurai can develop to be really useful. So, I don't know what that means, but what I think that means is, you gotta have that, in terms of samurai, like we're talking like building warriors, like killing machines now. You need that visceral, that anger, that evil, because evil can be turned into good. I think of my anger issues when in my early teens and 20s. Martial arts is how I learned how to turn my anger, which I would consider a dark energy, into a positive white. As my anger, my emotional intelligence increased, it turned into light energy. So I learned about good and became a righteous person. That's what this guy's saying here. You can take dark energy, make it into righteousness, compared to already being good, filled to achieve great work. Now, is this like just two different kinds of samurais? So who's right or wrong? You got to remember, this is like hundreds of years ago, right? So it's totally different now. So this is definitely a good book to... here's one. Book 10, How to Not Get Nervous. I talk about this one a lot. Before you attend an important occasion, apply spit to your earlobe and then breathe in deeply through your nostrils. Then go out. Kick every object you come across. This is the secret. Again, when you feel dizzy, apply spit to your earlobes and you will come to your senses instantly. I don't know. Try it. What do you guys think? Anyways, short book review today. Bushido, great book, but one thing I'm going to recommend is you probably want to read the Musashi novel first, and it'll give you more, maybe watch some movies on it. It's a huge part of Japanese culture, and it'll give you more appreciation for this type of wisdom. And I hope you enjoyed this book review. I'm going to be touching on a few topics or a few book reviews on this topic because in that section of my library, this stuff has really helped me, the Zen. All right, guys, take care.